Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to the Intimacy of Race and my actually solo coffee and conversations this morning. I am so happy to be alive today, to wake up today, to be able to be with you and kind of share from the heart a little bit today. So let me bring up Facebook in the background so that I can see you when you join on, because I'm trying to join in Zoom to get a better broadcast. So let me see. There I am. So whether you're joining me live or on the replay, I would love it if you would interact with me. Let me share something with you. Obviously I am a Black woman. And you may notice that every day I try to share something with you, whether it's racial injustice history. Other people are generous in sharing what they find that will be a resource or support with continuing the work of, I would like to say, cultural intelligence, cultural inclusivity, equity, righting wrongs, and bringing attention to injustices in the world. And as a Black woman, which is a double whammy minority, yay, me and all other Black women in the world, Black and brown women, this is labor intensive, emotionally intensive, and it takes quite an effort to, have the treatment, the inhumane treatment of Black and brown races, constantly in the forefront of your brain as you're trying to live your life and create a happy, healthy life for yourself and your family. So when I share these things, it means a lot to me to know that you are getting value from it, that you have heard it, read it, it affects you. And so in whatever way, maybe you haven't gotten value out of it, maybe you don't like it, but the engagement is what's crucial to me and what keeps me going. And here's what I mean about that. Did you ever just keep, doing things maybe for a friend or a family and never got a thank you? Okay, live TV, let's turn that spam off. And maybe never got a thank you or any show of appreciation or any acknowledgement even that, what you said or what you did had an impact or was important, or anybody celebrating with you, or even just saying, you know what, I hear you, but that's not necessarily how I feel. And you know how that makes you feel, right? You know how that makes you feel when you don't feel seen, heard, or appreciated. I talk about that quite a bit when I talk about effective listening and communication, how to be a generous listener. So I just share that to say that thank you for being here. And if you are here, say hi. Just say, hey girl, hey, how you doing? This is helping. Or, you know what, I'm gonna leave this group. It's not doing much for me, but thank you for the effort. And, it takes, for me personally, to ask for what I need is something that I am in the active practicing of and learning how to do that more of, instead of just not getting what I need and sitting there being pissed off about it, if you know what I mean. Because part of the onus of responsibility is on me to ask for what I need. So those of you in relationships with anybody in your life, if your spouse or partner is not a mind reader, please help them out by sharing what you need. Okay, so that's my relationship tip today. So what I wanted to share with you today as we get to the point, what's your point, Eva? is something that I realized about myself, and the what I call subconscious intimidation that is within me and has been within me around white women in general, not even the men. I seem to be really empowered by men, but there are certain I just say white women in general in leadership, coaching positions where I am subconsciously intimidated by them, where I start to play small. I don't own my voice, I don't own my power. And I started thinking about the reasons behind that. Like there are some groups that I'm in where you notice how and people may be doing this subconsciously themselves. You have a seat at the table, you have a voice at the table, but your voice is often overrun. Your voice is often not given the full breadth and weight of its power because of the white privilege and superiority that is a subconscious racism in them. So I talk about subconscious racism and subconscious intimidation. And I think for any person of color who has experienced what it means to be Black or brown in America knows deeply what this feels like. There's just an automatic second class citizenship, especially when you're in a group of, white women, strong, powerful white women. And it just comes that way. Or I don't want to say white women in that case. I'm just saying in general, we kind of grow up with that. It's kind of an unspoken something that's in us just because of the history of racism in this country. And the reason why I'm sharing that, I was just looking at myself and looking at a lot of the experiences I've had and where that has shown up. It's like, why do I shrink down? Why don't I feel that I have as much to contribute? And what I've learned is, I have a lot to contribute. I am very smart, very knowledgeable. And I'm not saying this in a braggadocious way. I'm just really saying that I have a lot to contribute and a lot to offer, but there's still that part of me that holds back when you're surrounded by, powerful white women. And I've seen that in a lot of groups that I've been in, and they just take that superiority position. Now, hear me carefully. It's easy for them to take that position of superiority because they're born with it. It's more challenging for people who grew up in racist countries and racist society to take that outside of their own communities, where everybody kind of looks like them and is in the same space. And you know what? This is not true for everyone. So, I'm not talking about you unless it's you. There used to be a preacher that said that. I'm not talking about you unless I'm talking about you. Okay. But it was just something that I noticed in myself, but I'm also want to celebrate the fact that I am no longer playing that role. I am speaking up, I am standing up, I have a lot to offer, a lot to contribute, and I don't need to shrink down just because you're white or just because this is your organization. I'm going to say what I need to say, and, hopefully I say it with the grace that I normally say things in, but I am not shrinking down anymore. This journey, the effect that George Floyd's murder has had on people negatively and positively, I see a lot of positive coming out of it, even though a lot of the negative has been exposed. And for me personally, the fact that I started this group, that I'm sharing my voice, that I wrote this book. And guys, if you haven't gotten my book yet, why not? Why not? I mean, lately I've gotten so many lovely notes from people sharing the effect the book has had on them. I'll probably put it in the notes later, but you can go to evamedilek.com/ The Intimacy of Race book, or just go to my website, evamedilek.com, and click on the allyship button and get the darn book, and then write me a nice review on Amazon. Shameless plug. What I wanted to share with you is I just came out of my my coaching recertification. I get recertified every year. It's kind of like continuing ed. And for those of you who don't know, I'm a certified high performance coach with the High Performance Institute that Brendon Burchard founded. And he wrote that book behind me, High Performance Habits. And, you know, I so am aligned and I resonate with his methodology of coaching. And I, you know, my clients have gotten amazing results when I, especially combining my methodology with his. It's just like, wow, off the charts. But the reason why I bring that up is Brendon was one of the few leaders who actually responded after George Floyd's murder, and we were also in the midst of the pandemic. He called us all together and we had a meeting about how to support the people in our communities with all of the different emotions and pain and trauma that was coming up in our communities. He made a conscious effort to not run from it, hide from it, not do business as usual, and to address it with how we as leaders can support our communities, and what he was doing as well. And that meant a lot to me. And during the training on, I want to say Tuesday, you know, I got an opportunity to share with Brendon how much that meant to me. And we had this really lovely, lovely conversation because I was watching leaders. You know, leaders are role models. How are they reacting? Are they sweeping it under the rug? Are they don't want to talk about it? Are they just talking about themselves and just how you can make money? Or are they really, you know, are they tone deaf or tuned in to the temperature in their communities? And I did quite a bit of presentations on this as well. But during our chat, he noticed that I had his book in the background, and then he asked about the book next to it, and it gave me an opportunity to share with him my book and the inspiration behind my book. And he had also shared with someone else what he's reading, because somebody asked him what he was reading, and he's reading this. First of all, A Testament of Hope, which are the essential writings and speeches of Martin Luther King Jr., because he's actually creating a body of work around this. And when I tell you guys, that touched me to no end, that of course I had to get the book, not knowing that it weighed 50 pounds and it was on par with President Obama's thick ass book. And I'm like, okay, it's gonna take me a minute to read along with everything else I'm reading. But my point in sharing that with you is, you know, I got the opportunity to shout my book in front of a couple hundred people, and the chat lit up like, oh my God, I'm going to get Evas book now. I just bought Evas book, and it just warmed my heart because honestly, true confession, I was so shy about promoting the book that I barely promoted it at all. I didn't do a bestseller campaign. I didn't do anything to get it in more hands. And the more people, you know, who have read it have responded to me with what they shared. I'm going to read one really quick. And this just came out of the blue. And it's from my friend Samantha. And she said, Eva, I am touched and moved as I read through your book. Words are hard to find, but many memories pop up. The first one is Mandela's Truth and Reconciliation, because she's from Denmark and she lived in South Africa, and, you know, and then she goes on and shares some of some acts of racism that people she knew experienced, and she wasn't aware of it. And she says, congratulations on your bravery. And that just came out of the blue, and I was like, wow. And then someone else had sent me an email about the effect of, you know, reading the book. And so I feel like I've done a disservice by not promoting it well. So I'm promoting it to y'all right now. If you haven't gotten it, it's not a lot of money, and it's certainly a great stocking stuffer with Christmas coming up. So your racist Uncle Jeb, have him read that. But yeah, it's a non-intimidating book, by the way. But all right, so Eva's starting the rant, which means she probably should go eat breakfast because she's on a cleanse, so she can't have coffee yet, but I did have my shake. My point in sharing all of this with you is, you know, this stuff is deep and it affects us at a deeper level. And the more we stay kind of in the work, in the knowledge, in the knowing, in availing ourselves to resources so that we can really work internally on ourselves, because I'm still peeling back layers. I still see myself, you know, going into some of those old habits of being intimidated by white women. You know, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm just going to say it right there. And, you know, I'm really been proud of myself the last couple of weeks with some groups that I'm in and some things I'm facilitating and assisting in facilitation of how I get to stand up and know that my voice matters, and not to doubt that my voice matters within myself. So that's what I wanted to share with you today, my growth, my journey. And I would love for you to share your growth and journey with me. You know, just comment below, be a part of the conversation. What ahas and awarenesses, what have you fallen back into, you know, now that it's not in the news every day? You know, there's stuff happening in the news. The politics of racism is alive and well. And you see it with the trial of this kid, Kyle Rittenhour, or whatever his name is. You just see it in the trial of those guys who murdered Ahmaud Arbery, talking about, we don't want no more Black pastors in the audience because it's intimidating the jury. Like, wait, what? So it's all around us, guys. It's all around us. And the threat to white supremacy has hit a nerve, and it's causing the racists and the supremacists to really use their voice louder. So let's arm ourselves to use our voice louder too. All right. I love you all. You all are amazing. Thank you so much for watching on the replay. This went a little longer than I wanted it to, but it's important to me. And thank you all. Bye.